Hello guys, so once again, for today's video, I will be discussing the fingerprint classification system, which is specifically the Henry classification that was modified by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This video series will cover the following topics. And part 1, I will be discussing the blocking out. Part 2 will cover the primary classification. Part 3 of the video series will be on secondary classification. Part 4 will be on the sub-secondary classification. Part 5 will be the major classification. Part 6 will be on final classification. And Part 7 will be on the key classification. Okay, so let us now proceed with the second part of this video series on the fingerprint classification system, which is actually the primary classification or the primary division. The process of manual fingerprint classification always starts with the primary classification. So when we talk about primary classification, this is actually the summation or adding of all the numerical value which is assigned to word type of pattern that appears in a fingerprint chart, which are expressed as numerators and denominators in the classification formula, plus the established function of the 1/1. So let us now proceed with the first step in primary classification. So if you can remember our 10 blocks that was discussed under the blocking out, first is we are going to determine the 5 pairs on the 10 blocks. So first pair is, of course, we have there the block 1 and the block 2. Second pair is on the block 3 and block 4. Third pair is block 5 and block 6. Our fourth pair is block 7 and block 8. And our last pair, or the pair 5, is we have there the block 9 and block 10. Second step in primary classification is that we must know the assigned numerical value. So these numerical value are actually constant or given in primary classification. So the first pair, which involves the block 1 and block 2, we have there 16 as the numerical value. And then second pair, the block 3 and block 4, have its assigned numerical value of 8. And then third pair, the block 5 and block 6, has a numerical value of 4. Fourth pair is we have there the block 7 and block 8 with numerical value of 2. And the last pair, or the fifth pair, which consider the block 9 and block 10, has an assigned numerical value of 1. Okay, so I hope you must memorize the assigned numerical value for each blocks and pair. Take note that these numerical values are only applicable to whorl patterns which are present in the fingerprint blocks. For non-whorl patterns, which includes the arch patterns and the loop patterns, the numerical value is 0. So the third step in primary classification is to know or determine the denominator or numerator. I know that we are already familiar with the numerator and denominator. The question here is what are those assigned in numerator and what are those assigned in the denominator. So under the numerator, it includes actually the even numbers. These even numbers consist our block numbers. Meaning, we have here, under the numerator is the block 2, we have there the block 4, we have there block 6, and we have there block 8, and we have there block 10. And the denominator, on the other hand, is it includes the odd numbers according to the block number. So it includes the block 1, the block 3, and then block 5, block 7, and block 9. Now, these blocks are separated by a plus sign. In other words, we are going to add this numerical value under the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so let us now proceed with the fourth step in primary classification. So the fourth step is to add the numerical value. If you can remember, when we talk about primary classification, this is the summation or adding of all the numerical value which are assigned to whirl type of pattern. Take note, we are going to add the numerical value of those whirl patterns which are present in the fingerprint blocks. So how is this possible? So what are we going to do? So first is we are going to identify first the whirl patterns. So we have there, and then place the numerical values for each blocks. So we have here. So if you are going to observe, we have there block 2. This is our block 2. Since this is a whirl pattern, we are going to place the numerical value of 16 here. And then followed by the block 4. This is our block 4. Since this is a whirl pattern, we are going to put the assigned numerical value of 8 in this formula. And then next is we have there block 6. Under block 6, since it is not a whirl pattern, we are going to put the value of 0. So in other words, if it is not a whirl pattern, the value will be 0. Next is we have there the block 8. So we have here the block 8. Since this is a whirl pattern, we are going to copy the assigned numerical value of 2. And last is we have there the block 10. We have here block 10. So since this is not a whirl pattern, we are going to place there a numerical value of 0. Now let us proceed with the odd numbers or on the denominator. First is we have there the block 1. So if we are going to observe, this is not a whirl pattern, so we are just going to put there a numerical value of 0, and then followed by the block 3. So this is tented, so we are going to place there again 0 since it is not a whirl pattern, and then followed by the block 5. So if we are going to observe this block 5, this is a whirl pattern, so we are going to copy the numerical value of 4. And then next is we have there the block 7. We have here a plain arch. So again, we are going to place a numerical value of 0. And last is we have there the block 9. If we are going to observe, block 9 is a whirl pattern, therefore we are going to copy the numerical value of 1. Okay, so as we have stated earlier, so we are now going to add the numerical value in our numerator and our denominator. So 16 plus 8 plus 2 is equals to 26. And we have there our denominator, which is 4 plus 1 is equals 5. So this is actually our initial primary classification. So moving on, this is our last step or the fifth step. So after the values for all the 10 fingers are obtained, they are totaled, and the 1 over 1 is added, or 1 is added to both the numerator and the denominator. So this 1 over 1 is already constant or already given for the primary classification. So based on our example a while ago, our initial primary classification is 26 over 5. So when we are going to add the 1 over 1, our final primary classification will be 27 over 6. So this is our final primary classification. Now, in cases that all the fingerprint patterns in the fingerprint blocks contains whirl patterns, all whirl patterns, then the value will be, or the primary classification will be 32 over 32. On the other hand, if the fingerprint patterns present on the fingerprint blocks contains arches and loops, the numerical value will be 0 plus the 1 over 1, and we will have a primary classification of 1 over 1. So 32 over 32 is our highest value in primary classification, and the 1 over 1 is our lowest value in primary classification. So the primary classification, in other words, ranges from 1 over 1 until 32 over 32. Take note that in the 1 over 1, approximately 25% of the population falls into the 1 over 1 category, meaning their fingers, or 25% of the population, have all their fingers have either loops or arches. So a fingerprint classification system cannot in itself unequivocally identify an individual. It will merely provide the fingerprint examiner with a number of candidates, all of whom have indistinguishable set of prints in the system's file. So moving on with the primary classification. So let's take another example. So of course, under primary classification, we must not forget the assigned numerical value for each fingerprint blocks. Take note that these numerical value are only applicable for whirl patterns which are present in each fingerprint blocks. Now, if it is not a whirl pattern, the numerical value that must be assigned is 0. And of course, remember also again the fingerprint blocks or the block numbers. Now, let us proceed. Of course, first is we have here the classification line. And then we are now going to proceed with our numerator. So we will proceed with numerator, which includes the even numbered blocks. So we have there block 2. Under block 2, we have there a whirl pattern. Therefore, we are going to copy the numerical value, which is 16. And then followed by the block 4. Under block 4, we have there tented. So our numerical value will be 0. And then followed by the block 6. Since this is an arch pattern, so we are going to have there a 0 numerical value, and then followed by the block 8. So this is a whirl pattern. So we are going to copy the numerical value of 2. And last is we have there the fingerprint block 10, which is a loop pattern. So we are going to put a numerical value of 0. Okay? Now let us proceed with our denominator, which includes the odd numbered blocks. So first is we have there block 1. Since this is a loop pattern, our numerical value will be 0, and then followed by the block 3. So our block 3 is a whirl pattern, therefore we are going to copy the assigned numerical value of 8, and then followed by the block 5, which is actually a loop pattern. So since it is a loop, we are going to place there a 0 numerical value, and then followed by the block 7, which is a tented arch. So since it is tented, again, we are going to place there a 0 numerical value. And we have there block 9. Again, this is a loop pattern, so our numerical value will be 0. And then followed by that, we are now going to add the numerator and then add the denominator. So we have there 16 plus 0 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0 is, we have there 18 over 8. And then next thing is we are now going to add the 1 over 1. Again, this is constant. So in this particular example, our primary classification now will be 19 over 9. So again, this is our primary classification. So there you are. We are able to identify the primary classification. So try to practice at home until you will be familiarized or you will be acquainted with the different rules. Until such time, you don't need to put already the numerical value on the fingerprint card or even the block number. So without those numerical value placed in the fingerprint card and without the block numbers, you can identify the primary classification. It's just a matter of a practice. Now, this primary classification is again the first step in classifying the fingerprints under the Henry FBI system. So the presence or absence of the whirl pattern is the basis for the determination of the primary classification. Now, the Henry classification again allows for logical categorization of the 10-print fingerprint records into primary groupings based on the fingerprint pattern types. So I hope you have learned from this video. I hope guys that you will be able to watch my video series, complete video series on blocking out, primary, secondary, sub-secondary, major, and final, and the key classification under the fingerprint classification system. So if you think that this video helped you a lot, click the like button. Share this video if the information is worth sharing. If you have questions, takeaways, and comments, do not hesitate to comment below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you again for watching.